Hi everyone, welcome back to Nutrition Made Simple, a video series that we created that takes a look at ideas surrounding natural health, and then we break them down into easy to understand and actionable steps. I am joined today not by Ed Jones, but by Chris Wilson. He is a new employee here at relatively new employee at Nutrition World. And he has actually a very specific set of skills. Now, we're not talking Liam Neeson here, but he has an important story that needs to be heard, and that includes one about detox, Lyme disease, mold, and other toxins. That is a really important conversation that we want to do our part to tell. But to start off, Chris, before we get into any of the finer details, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your story and what you do at Nutrition World?
Absolutely, and I would love to have a set of Liam Neeson skills too, by the way. That would be incredible. But yeah, name's Chris Wilson. I'm a certified functional medicine practitioner, certified nutritionist, certified functional nutrition practitioner, and the journey chose me. I wasn't even really looking into health or anything for that matter. It was my wife who got extremely ill after the birth of our second child, and we didn't really know what was going on. We didn't understand, and we didn't have money, nor did we have insurance to really go to a doctor. So that might have been a blessing in disguise, because it would have probably saved us a lot of headache, time, frustration, and money, of course, if we had it at that time. And so I just stayed up late researching on PubMed and trying to figure out what were things that her symptoms were showing, and it just led me down a rabbit hole of it could be this or it could be that or it could be this and that and different things in the environment to look for. And so out of 5 years, it's kind of just developed a passion inside of me to get not only the information that I use to help my wife out to the masses, but really to just help empower people, inspire people, and educate people on how to become their own health advocate. And that's why I love doing this. It gives me a chance to really speak into people's lives and give them hope where I think a lot of people are just really looking for hope, and that they're not suffering alone, and that there are other people, and that there is hope. They can find answers, and they don't have to go to conventional medicine. Although I'm not against conventional medicine, they just lack a lot of the training that some people on this alternative side have.
So specifically, what is your role at Nutrition World? What are you doing now?
Been here for 3 months. Very grateful to be here. I love the place, love everybody. And I guess I could say I was hired for like chronic illness. And that's really where I love diving deep and investigating all of these hidden stressors that could be contributing to a person's condition or health challenge, as I like to say. Really, it doesn't matter what a person is labeled with, whether it's type 2 diabetes, whether it's dementia, multiple sclerosis, or whatever the case may be, fill in the blank, right? We know that there's hidden stress, and I'm not talking about like work stress, life, marital stress, financial stress, although those do play a great role into it. They are part of the problem. But it's a low-grade chronic inflammatory stress that we're just inundated with, and it could be from blood sugar dysregulation, hidden toxins from things like mold or a water-damaged building, something that we call sick building syndrome. It could be from Lyme disease. It could be a heavy metal burden. In reality, it's just a toxic burden of the body, and we call it allostatic load. And so if you think of this cup right here, we're all born with different size buckets or cups. And for you could have a very big bucket in all of your cells. And for me, I could have a very little one. And so it's going to take less chemical toxicity for me to express symptoms and disease before it does you. And because we're all different in our biochemical makeup, we all can get disease at different times or stages of our life. And so it all depends on how much of this bucket fills up before it starts to spill over and symptoms arise or manifest.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, on today's episode, we wanted to talk about one topic in particular, and that's detox. And Chris, obviously detox means a lot of different things to a lot of people, like we were talking about before we started recording. But specifically in your line of work, how would you define detox?
So to dispel a lot of myths that are out there, like what detox is something that occurs every second in all of our cells every day, right?
Yeah.
But like you said, it's this catch-all term. It's this fad, or it's a very fancy buzzword that we hear all the time. Oh, I'm doing this juice cleanse. I'm doing this type of smoothie fast, or I'm doing a foot bath. I'm doing a colonic, and I'm detoxing. And while there's nothing wrong with those modalities, those are all great strategies to support detox, because at the very bottom of it, detox is simply the removal of a toxin from the body. Mm-hmm. So what people are doing when they're doing these detoxes, they're essentially supporting our natural drainage pathways. So when you think of your drainage pathway, think of your lymphatic system, right? Mm-hmm. And think of your liver. Your liver probably everyone associates with as the detoxification organ of the body. Right. And the liver has so many different responsibilities aside from detox. It's responsible for nutrient metabolism, utilization, and the storage site for key vitamins and minerals like vitamin A, D, E, and B12. And the liver has this unique capability of distinguishing between toxin and friend, or with the foods that we eat, it's able to kind of screen out the bad guy versus the good guy. And so I think detox is more so a lifestyle today, not necessarily something that we do for 3 days, 10 days, or even 30 days, but something that we should incorporate just in our life. I mean, after all, we're in the 21st century and we're inundated with toxins from every single angle, exposed to it all day long through the air we breathe, the waters we drink, the foods we eat, and just our environment.
So practically, what does that look like? I mean, it's obviously this isn't something that you can do short term and it's going to be effective. Like you said, it's a lifestyle. So what are some of the steps that people could take in order to do that?
It's a great question, because I think people always want to know, where can I just begin? What can I do? And I think looking at the things that we can control. So obviously there's certain variables that is in our power that we can, gain control of. The lifestyle choices, like how can we clean up our environment? So there's your home. Let's just think of your home before we even delve into diet, because most people would be like, well, it's a diet. That's the no-brainer, right? But let's think of the home, because the home is meant to be a healing sanctuary. You know what I mean? It's meant to be a place filled of love, laughter, joy, family. Or if you're just in a solo bachelor pad, a place to hang out, crash, and relax, to rejuvenate. And so most of our homes today are very tightly built. They don't have a very good way to breathe like they did in the earlier 1900s. And we're also using very toxic construction materials in the process of building our home. For instance, the carpets that we put in, the faux wood that goes down, the cabinetry, a lot of these are used with harsh chemicals and they off-gas for up to 3 to 5 years. And so when you walk into a brand new home and you have that new home smell, you're breathing in toxins, and that's adding to your toxic bucket. And so if you're someone who's type 2 diabetic, or maybe even pre-diabetic, and maybe you've got some nagging symptoms, but they're not to the point of you having to seek out a physician's help, right? And I do want to preface that everything I'm saying is not meant to treat, diagnose, or cure anything. It's just all for health purposes, and that's exactly what I'm here to do, is help people understand through the empowerment of the message I'm giving that they can take control of their own lives by educating themselves. And so in a home, all of these things, they off-gas. Formaldehyde being one of the chemicals that's used in particle wood, like cabinetry and such, or in the carpets. And then people use typical household cleaners, your Windex, your Pledge, Pine Sol, Mr. Clean, all these Febreze, and those are loaded with parabens, phthalates, and different chemicals that are known as endocrine disrupting chemicals. And it's an established thing now. If you go into, I guess, I don't want to say the literature, because everyone always says, well, look at the literature, but if we look on the research or what peer-reviewed studies have to say about these compounds, these chemicals, is that they do block our body's natural hormones from acting at the cell receptor site. So if you think of like you go downtown and you have parallel parking spaces, and let's say it's like 2 cars coming around and there's only one spot open. It's like a race to who can get there first. And so that's essentially what these chemicals, as they come into our bloodstream, they do. They're competing for that same spot for our hormone, and it's like who can get there first, you know. And when our bucket is filled up, these cell receptor sites become blocked. And although we have circulating hormones in our blood that we can test for and it looks normal on paper, how many times have you heard people say, I've gone to my doctor and he says all my blood work is normal? It's like a very, very common thing. And people are like, but doc, I don't feel normal. You don't know what it's like to live in my shoes. I'm fat, I'm flumpy, I'm frazzled, I'm just fed up with all this, you know. My hair's thinning out, I've got cold hands, cold feet, I got stubborn weight around the midsection or in my arms and thighs. I can't lose weight no matter what I do. I'm always tired. I'm even kind of depressed on certain days, which I don't know why. And all the doctor wants to do is prescribe me something for my constipation and then send me to an outpatient facility for like psychiatric drugs, you know. And it's like, man, if we just investigate properly into the things that we're, you know, lathering onto ourselves with our personal beauty care products, lotions and creams and colognes, all of these have chemicals in them, and that's just contributing to that bucket. And so first, by understanding, and I know it can be very overwhelming when you have to realize, wow, you're telling me I got to trade out Tide and Gains and Snuggle dryer sheets and my favorite household cleaners for, you know, different healthier products. Well, if it's to prevent a disease, because if you think about the number 1 and number 2 killers, cardiovascular disease or heart disease and cancer, number 3 is, you know, medical errors, right? But another one that was at number 6 a couple of years ago is now creeping up, I think is in place at number 3, and it's Alzheimer's or dementia. So some form of neurodegeneration. And it's really just educating yourself on what's in our environment. Because again, the 21st century, we're inundated with chemicals from everywhere, and we obviously can't live in a bubble. So it's like, what things can I do to support myself? And I think that's where understanding a healthy diet. What can we use in a healthy diet? And I always advocate for, you know, ketogenic is a very big thing out there right now, and doing ketogenic the right way or not doing it at all, because we're all individual, we're all unique. What may work for you may not work for me, and vice versa. I've seen that with the ketogenic diet. It can be very therapeutic in certain cases, but so can a Mediterranean diet, and so can a paleo or an autoimmune paleo. An autoimmune paleo diet is typically what I employ for people who are chronically ill, because it's already removing most of the hidden stressors. And I hope I answered that by saying, what are some of the things that people can do today? You know, an anti-inflammatory diet and educating yourself on the things in your home. Like I call it the toxic top 10, mold obviously being one of them, because it can grow indoor, and that's a big problem. And people probably don't think about mold being an issue, but we're on the East Coast. There's a lot of humidity, and humidity, darkness, and temperature is a perfect breeding ground and moisture for mold to grow. But toxic chemicals in the home, mold, and you know, eating an anti-inflammatory diet, those are like really good starting places. And then you can kind of get into more like a targeted approach based on testing. Yeah.
I mean, the biggest effects always start with small changes. So, I mean, even if it is just changing your laundry detergent to something more natural, or your household cleaning products, like you were saying, I mean, those are easy changes to make that can have drastic effects. So, Chris, thank you so much. If people want to contact you for a consultation or get to know you a little better, how could they contact you?
So I'm here at Nutrition World. You can come in, ask for me. I'm more than welcome to come up and introduce myself. My email is christopher@nutritionw.com, where we can exchange information there, and I can share with you the process on how to book a consultation with me, and we can discuss any lab work or perhaps discuss potential labs that you should order or look into for your health challenge. And we can go from there, really. And then I can help educate people on the right things to do and the steps to take.
Perfect. Thanks, Chris. And thank you guys for watching. We hope that answered some of the questions that you may have. We're going to have Chris back again to talk about more of these topics a little more in depth. So hopefully you'll tune in, and we'll see you next time on Nutrition Made Simple. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.